Super Sheep, Diary of a Heroic Flying Sheep, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Martin is a sheep. He is different from other sheep. He has superpowers. He doesn't exactly remember where he got them, but he is determined and has decided to use them for the good of other fellow sheep. He rescues sheep in distant areas, saves them from perilous circumstances, and protects his kind against a common enemy. Follow Martin's diary, a sheep with secret super strengths. Chapter 1. Super. My name is Martin, simply Martin. I am a sheep. Well, a ram actually, a male sheep. But we don't always say it that way in our flock. Sheep are sheep, male or female. So it's Martin, just Martin. Don't try to figure out my last name because I don't even know what my last name is. And recently, I discovered something. I have superpowers. Isn't that awesome? My superpower is that I can fly. Have you ever seen a flying sheep? I bet you haven't. I mean, I never knew sheep could fly, and honestly, I was the only one. A flying sheep. Isn't that crazy? Okay, let me first tell you how I found out. I was standing there with 50 other sheep. We were all eating grass. That's what we do, so that's what we did. My life was good, but it wasn't unique. I didn't care. I just liked the grass, and that satisfied my cravings. While I was eating and taking my time, I saw something emerging from behind the hill. It came closer and closer. It approached us with great speed. Before I knew it, it blew into my face. Whoosh! Whack! I tried to get it off my face, but it was covering all of my head, surrounding it. My friends looked at me as I was running in circles and moving my head up and down, shaking my legs and tail. "Take it easy," one of them said after a while. "It's just a piece of fabric." When I calmed down, I was able to put it on the ground and analyze it. I looked down and saw a red cape. I had never seen one before, and I had no idea where it came from, but it was mine. I found it, and I was going to put it on, just for fun. "Looks like nature just gave you a present," the sheep said. "Cool, I'm going to try it on," I said. When I put it around my neck, I still didn't know what I was getting myself into. It felt like a regular cape, but it also had some kind of glow or power to it. The others didn't sense it, and I was reluctant to point it out because I didn't even know what was happening to me. I felt a sudden rush of energy and became a little lightheaded. I liked it. I savored the new strength flowing through my blood, and it was awesome. Later that evening, I was away from the flock. I was by myself in a remote location on the same grass field but under a tree in the shade. And there I saw it. It was an apple, a single delicious fruit snack waiting for me to devour it. I reached up and even stood on 2 feet, attempting to get closer and pull it off the tree, but it was too far. And then it happened. As I tried to go higher, suddenly, I did. I floated up and bit the apple with my sharp teeth. Then I looked down and screamed, "Ah!" I fell down again. What was that all about? How did I get so high above the ground? I looked up. The apple was really high up there. I was puzzled and looked at the grass again. I didn't understand it, but I knew one thing. The apple was yummy. I wanted more of it. So I tried to reach for it again and floated up again. This time I was mentally prepared for it, so I wasn't scared anymore. I looked down while floating in the air. Wow! Was I actually floating? It just barely hit me that I could do that. Perhaps it was the cape. Let's test this thing, I thought. I landed and took off the cape, after which I reached for the apple again, but this time I couldn't do it. Yep, it had to be the cape. This was going to be the final test. I put the cape back on and tried to fly up again. Yeah, this was the bomb. I could fly. I didn't wait any longer. I was going to use this newfound superpower and have the best time of my life. I flew away from the trees and sped into the air, higher and higher until I reached the clouds. Whoosh! I soared above the clouds and looked down on the valley with the little specks that didn't look like sheep anymore. It was an amazing view, and I felt free. I ascended above the mountains and did some circles and moves before I flew back down. I landed. I was still in shock, and I was super excited. The future looked bright because I could fly! Chapter 2: The Little Lost Lamb. I soon found out what these superpowers were good for. The alarm was intense when every other sheep was talking about the same thing, the lost little lamb. Have you heard about Sally? She got stuck somewhere, didn't she? Poor little lamb. She is only a few years old and already getting lost. Where did the mother go? She is out there looking for her. She said she only turned the other way for 10 seconds and then Sally disappeared out of sight. Is anyone else looking? No, they say she is too far gone anyway. Plus, they have a hard time leaving the fenced area. What can we do? And that was the moment I stepped forward. Fear not, loyal sheep citizens, I said in a low but confident voice. Your rescue has come. Martin, the super sheep, will save your Sally. All the sheep stopped talking and looked at me. Some of them were dumbfounded and had the bottom of their mouths fall wide open. I stood there like a heroic champion, but nobody had seen me do anything out of the ordinary yet, so they started laughing. Ha ha ha, someone said. And what are you going to do? Attract the lamb with your red cape? It's not a bull, you dummy. I could tell that they were not impressed. They didn't even know about my superpower to fly yet, but they were about to find out. I took off. I ascended and flew above their disbelieving heads. They were trying to see where I was going, but I was too fast. I wasn't going to wait for their praise. I had a duty to my fellow sheep. Sally was lost, and I would get her back. I kept flying and headed south, over the hills and through the trees, around the mountain and towards the deserted plains. And that's where she was. Sally! I shouted. She didn't hear me. Sally! I yelled again. No answer, but it didn't matter. She was about to get rescued. I flew down and picked her up. Wah! She shrieked. Don't worry, kiddo, I proudly said. You are safe with me. But it was too early to celebrate because in front of me, a large group of crows was flying at me. I didn't think they were aiming for me. They were just going into the opposite direction of where I was heading, and they just happened to get in my way. The giant black birds were cawing loudly and increasing in speed. Hang on, I told Sally. I clung to her and made sure she was protected. The crows flew by, and some of them accidentally bumped into me. Thousands of crows were making noise and speeding through the sky. After a few more hits, I couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't safe up there. We're going to land, I said. Don't let go. I dashed down and landed as softly as possible. Phew, that was close. The crows were all above us now. They couldn't harm us anymore. We waited and waited, and eventually all the crows had gone away. Let's get you back to your mother, I said. I grabbed onto her and flew up again. After a little while, we reached the grass fields. There's Mommy, Sally said. We flew down and I handed her over to her mom. The mother sheep and the little lamb hugged for a moment and then thanked me elaborately. The other sheep were amazed. I got lots of compliments, some requests to show them a few tricks, and the best grass for myself in the field. And since then, my journey to being a superhero had started. A super sheep hero. Chapter 3: Blown Away. The interesting thing was that all the sheep started to rely on me, that they saw me as their leader or exemplar after that. They were impressed, obviously, and they were showing it through their gratitude and the privileges they gave me. From the moment I had been flying in front of them, they gave me the best spots, the best water, and the most shade in the summer. In return, I would perform tasks for them and help them out whenever they needed me. One time, they desperately wanted me to help. I didn't even know it at the time, but we were in a dangerous zone. Tornadoes had been spotted in the area, and one of them was just coming our way. "We're all going to die," one of the sheep cried. "There is nothing we can do," another said. "We're going to be blown away or get caught up in the tornado. We are doomed." "Let's ask Martin. He'll know what to do," one of the sheep suggested. I was just taking it easy, eating grass, and flying up to eat apples from the trees. And suddenly the entire flock came to me. One of them stepped forward and had the floor. "We need your help," she said. "A tornado is coming this way, and we don't know what to do." "A tornado?" I asked. "Yes." "A tornado?" I asked again. "Yes, are you deaf? It's a tornado. That's what I said." "Wow," I said. I was afraid. I didn't know what to do about a tornado. Seriously? Yes, I could fly away, but I wouldn't be able to stop a tornado from coming there. The other sheep expected much out of me, but I just didn't know if I could live up to those. "I guess I could pick you up and fly you out of here," I said. "But then our land will still be destroyed," they protested. "The grass will be gone and all our food as well. Isn't there anything you can do to stop the tornado?" "No, I don't think so. Can't the herder do something? Or the farmers who live a mile away from here?" I knew that wasn't going to cut it. Something else had to be done. But how could I ever stop a tornado? The idea itself was insane to begin with. The little radars in my creative brain started working, and suddenly I had an idea. "I don't know if it will work, but I can give it a try," I said. "What? What are you going to do?" the sheep asked. "Go against the wind." "Huh?" "Just stay here. I will take care of it. Let's go, tornado. You and me." They didn't know what to say. Nobody understood what I was up to, and I didn't want to waste my time explaining it to them. I had a mission, and I wasn't going to let them distract me. I flew up to spot the tornado. Once I was a few hundred feet above the ground, it was easy to see it in the distance. It was destructive, all right. I already saw it ripping trees from the soil, moving other objects into the air, and spinning them round and round. It was a brutal force of nature. I flew closer and breathed in deeply. Then I did it. At first, it didn't do much, but after a while, I started seeing some effects. The tornado was spinning clockwise, and I was flying counterclockwise. The faster I went, the more I could reverse the wind. It was hard, and I didn't even know I could fly that fast, which was why I had my doubts before I began. However, as I kept flying against the wind in circles, the tornado force became less strong. "Ah, you're going down, tornado!" I yelled, while squinting my eyes and flying faster than a sheep has ever done in history. Slowly but certainly, the tornado moved towards the grass fields, but its strength became diminished by the minute. As I glanced down, some of the sheep were looking up and pointing at the strange phenomenon. A super sheep with a cape flying in the opposite direction of a tornado wind. I didn't look down for more than a second because I had to focus, and after a while, the tornado ceased entirely. Was I dizzy? Oh yeah. Was I proud? Certainly. I looked at the possible disaster I had just stopped and floated above the ground for a little while. Then I almost dropped, barely maintaining my balance. Eventually, I really fell down, landing in a tree that broke my fall. "Ouch!" I said. The other sheep came to watch me. "Is he going to be okay?" one of them asked. "He looks dead," another said. "No, he can't be. Martin is our super sheep. He can never be defeated." Then I groaned. "Ugh, this hurts," I said. "He is alive," one of the sheep said. "Let's help him down, quickly." They helped me down and put me on the grass. I was still hurting, but I knew it would heal soon. Everyone was surrounding me. "Wow, that was amazing," one of the sheep said. "You just stopped a tornado, dude," another said. "You are the man." "Thanks," I said. "I'm a little dizzy, though. I would like to go to sleep now." I could hardly believe it myself. It was something no sheep would have ever dreamed of. I was a hero, and I had saved their beautiful grass. But the trials were not over yet. Chapter 4: The Endless Abyss. 2 days later, another sheep was missing. I didn't know why or how they always managed to run away, but if you didn't know already, sheep can be pretty stupid sometimes. They just follow the rest of the flock, or they are wired to change their direction without thinking about it or having a real goal. This one's name was Vimo. He was the sheep who always reminded everyone of everything. "Make sure you close the gate," he would say, or "Don't eat too much grass, leave some for others. It's not healthy to start binge eating anyway." According to some, he had bonked his head or some tree branch had fallen on him, after which he went completely nuts. He was scatterbrained and had left the premises, wandering off to the mountains or something. The sheep told me about it and begged me to go and get him. "Okay, but you better keep an eye on him when he gets back," I said. "Sure, but could you please just get him?" "Absolutely, no problem." And I took off, flying towards the mountains. It took a long time before I found him. He was so far gone that I assumed he had probably left the flock during the night and walked all day. When I found him, he was sleep drunk. He had no clue what he was doing, or so I thought. "Hey, Vimo!" I shouted from the sky, flying above him with my red cape. "I'm going to take you home, buddy. Are you ready to go?" No. Must find the Iron Fist. The Iron Fist is here. I must find it. I cannot go back. Important." I thought he had lost his marbles. He was so far gone. Mentally, I mean. "There is no Iron Fist, Vimo," I said. "You must have imagined it. Don't worry about it. Let's go home now." "No. Must find the Iron Fist. I know it's here. Find the Iron Fist." "Vimo, it's okay. Let's just go." He was really losing it, and now he was climbing over the edge of a steep cliff. "Vimo, don't go down there. You're going to die." But it was too late. He had already put one foot over the edge and was about to fall. The canyon was so deep that I couldn't even see the dark bottom in the beginning. Hitting the ground would certainly end in death. I didn't hesitate. I had to take action at the exact moment it was happening. And there I went, flying after the falling sheep. He didn't make a sound, he just let himself fall. I, on the other hand, yelled his name as I sped down. "Vimo!" I went faster and faster, beating gravity, the real and only enemy I was facing at that moment. I was gaining on him. It all happened within a few seconds. A few feet away from the ground, I snatched the delusional Vimo and flew up again, feeling my heart beat 1,000,000 times per minute, as it were, and feeling relieved that I had barely saved this sheep's life. "What are we going to do with you, Vimo?" I asked. He didn't answer. He was a hopeless mental case. Or was he? Chapter 5: Dark and Dreary. Another sheep needed to be rescued. It was a week later, and the other sheep had kept Vimo within the boundaries of the field. Luckily, he hadn't wandered off anymore, even though he still kept rambling on about the Iron Fist every day. The sheep that needed to be rescued was another weirdo that had always been a little off. She had left the flock and gone into some cave, too curious to resist the temptation of looking inside. "Where is the cave?" I asked the other sheep. "On the other side of that mountain," the sheep said. "It should be easy to find." I left and hurried to the cave. "Whoa," I said when I found it. "That's pretty dark." It was. It was as dark as the night. No, darker actually. I couldn't see anything. "Hello? Is anybody there?" I shouted. I heard a sheep in the distance. "Follow my voice," I shouted again. Then it became clearer. "I am stuck," she said. "My leg is stuck in a cavity in the rocks here." "Okay, I will come and get you." That was harder than I thought. It was so dark that I couldn't even see my hoof in front of me. I bravely went in and trusted my instincts to follow the sound of the damsel sheep in distress. "Please help me," she whimpered. "Please." The whining became so heartbreaking that I was determined to get her out, just to be rid of the noise. But it didn't work. The obscurity had overcome me. I was a little lost and decided to go back. Fortunately, it worked out that way, and I found myself outside. Sorry, I thought to myself. There is no way I can go in there without a light. What was I going to do? My flying superpowers couldn't help me here. I walked back and forth, trying to think of a creative solution. Then I had it. I was going to build a fire and make a torch. I had never done it before, but I had heard of people who had succeeded by scratching the surface of specific rocks and creating a spark. I gathered some dry wood and some other materials and kept trying for a half hour. Finally, a sparkle of hope, and a real sparkle that would kindle the fire. I blew and made the fire turn into something valuable and useful. With that, I lit the branch I had put together and took the self-made torch into the cave. "Coming, coming," I said. Eventually, I reached her. "How long have you been in here?" I asked. "For hours," she said, still crying a little. "Please get me out." "That's precisely what I am going to do," I said. I pulled and pulled. We did it together, combining our strengths and eventually getting her leg out of the cavity of the rocks. "Ow, ow, 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 it hurts," she whined. I sighed. She couldn't walk, so she couldn't follow me. I knew what I had to do, and I wasn't looking forward to it. "Fine," I said. "I will carry you. Come on, hop on my back." After I said it, I kept my promise and carried her all the way out of the cave. She was holding the torch, lighting the way, and helping our teamwork along. When we were out of the cave, I was still holding on to her and flew her out of the rocky area, back to the grass fields where the other sheep resided. I received a warm welcome, and everybody partied that evening, celebrating the safe return of one of their beloved family members. I had done it again. I had played the hero, and I had made it. But one of the sheep was not celebrating. Chapter 6. A Watery Grave. That evening, the night of the party, one of the sheep came to me. "We need your services again," he said. "Another sheep has been dumb enough to drift off the beaten path, and when I say drift, I literally mean drift." "What do you mean then? I don't understand," I said. "The river," he said. "One of the rams, my cousin, was drinking water, and suddenly he got swept away by the river. It has been about an hour now since it happened. Could you go get him? We have no clue where he is." "Sure," I said. "It will be a little hard to find him in the dark, but I will do my best." Thank you so much." I left the party. It seemed like there wasn't a moment that I could sit still or relax a little. Duty called, and I had to go out again. When I flew around the mountain, I saw the flowing river. It was wild and boisterous. The rigid rocks in the middle of it caused the streams to deter from a straight path. The sounds were overwhelming and lively. It definitely wasn't a river to mess with, a river so wild that I didn't think a sheep would survive in it. I assumed any sheep would drown in here immediately, but for some reason I still had some hope. There was something in me, a hunch or feeling that told me I still had a chance, so I flew over the river, calling for the sheep and hoping he would hear me. I didn't get a response, but after some time I saw a sheep stuck behind a rock. "There he is," I said out loud. "Don't worry, I will get you out of there." I flew over and saw him holding on for life, making sure he wouldn't be swept away by the current and thrown against the rock on the bottom of the watery depths. I swallowed and thought of the horrible death that drowning would be, but I shoved the thought aside and came closer to help him. When I tried to pull him out, however, the rock chipped off, and he fell into the water. "No!" I yelled. Instantly, I dove under the water and looked for him. I couldn't see him, and I had a hard time fighting against the curvy current myself. I caught my breath when I reached the surface and looked again. Aha! There he was, completely knocked out and drifting away towards a waterfall. I flew out of the water, happy that I hadn't lost my cape underwater. Then I flew towards him. He fell down the waterfall, but I was fast enough to reach him before he made a huge splash and hit the bottom of it. As I flew underneath him, he fell on my back and I brought him to the riverbed, after which I put him down and did some CPR, or, well, sheep PR. He coughed and spat out the water he had swallowed. Then he smiled because he knew he was safe. "Let's get you back," I said. I took him back to the flock where they were still celebrating the previous rescue. When they saw I rescued another sheep, they partied even more, cheered even louder, and brought out more grass snacks. It was a night to remember. Chapter 7. The Threat. We were drinking water and eating grass snacks all night. Sheep parties don't get more complicated than that. But it was a lot of fun, until someone else came to me. This time, the message wasn't about a lost sheep. It wasn't about some natural element or a rescue mission. It was about a real enemy, a threat to the flock. "We have seen footprints in the mud," one of the rams told me. "We think they are from a wolf." "Do you have any idea where they are?" I asked. "No, but I am sure it will attack the flock sometime. We have talked about it already, and some of the sheep are scared. Do you think you can punch or kick that wolf so hard that it will run away and leave us alone?" "Sure, I am a super sheep, so that should work, I think." I wasn't certain, though. Just because I could fly and because I was fast didn't mean I knew how to fight a vicious predator. That night I couldn't sleep. I was worried. The threat was serious, and I didn't know if I could protect the flock this time. The next day, the same topic was the center of discussion, the wolf. Some of the sheep had even seen it outside the fences. And since it hadn't jumped on any of the sheep yet, they were concerned that the wolf had bigger plans, or was going to outsmart them. But none of that was about to happen. The wolf would simply come and rely on the fact that we couldn't leave the area anyway. That same afternoon, it did happen. The wolf jumped over the fence and stood in front of the flock. The sheep all flinched and stood inside the fence. The wolf had them cornered. They couldn't go anywhere. But then I came forward. I stood in between the sheep and the wolf. The wolf was drooling and said, "What is this? A sheep with a cape? What are you going to do, dress me up? Ha ha ha!" "No, I am going to beat you up," I said, after which I flew forward with great speed and punched the wolf in the face. But it didn't work. I mean, I hit him, I made sure of that, but he just didn't care. I punched him again, this time on his back, flying around in circles and attacking him occasionally from a different angle. After about 4 or 5 hits, I was done. "Impressive," he admitted. "I never expected a sheep to fly, but your attempts are futile. Each punch you throw at me only makes me hungrier." He was right. The hits just didn't hit him hard enough, even after coming at him fast. It just didn't hurt much, and if it continued that way, he was going to win the fight. "Are you finally done?" he asked. "A blade of grass has a bigger impact on me than your punches. They're pathetic." What was I going to do? Chapter 8. Super Sheep Will Win. I flew back to the sheep, hoping to safeguard them against the wolf, but feeling more desperate every minute. He came closer and closer. I knew I could fly away, but then I would abandon the flock and leave them to a lethal fate. All of a sudden, Vimo spoke up again. "The Iron Fist," he said. Then it hit me, the thought of getting an iron fist and beating the wolf. If it really existed, it would be a helpful tool indeed. "Hold on," I said to the wolf. "You know I could fly away if I wanted to, right?" "Sure, but then I would just devour your friends here." "But what if you could eat a flying sheep?" I asked. "Wouldn't that be something to be more proud of? And perhaps I would even taste better. What do you think?" The wolf thought for a moment and said, "I am listening. What do you have in mind? Well, I began, I am just not prepared right now, but if you come back tomorrow, I promise to fight you and surrender if you win. Then you can eat me instead of my friends. He said. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Sure, let's do it. I will be back tomorrow afternoon. If you're gone by then, I will eat all these sheep. If you are there, I will try to defeat you, but you better not be flying away. You can count on me, I said. Then he left. We all watched him until he was completely out of sight. What are you doing? One of the sheep asked after a while. You will get killed. Without your ability to fly, he will overpower you. You know that. But he doesn't know about the iron fist, I said. I flew away and heard them say in the background, The iron fist? What's that? That smart, crazy Vimo. What an idea. I had heard of iron fists before. They were like gloves that you could put on your hoofs and become super strong. If I could only find that object Vimo had been searching for all along, I could beat that wolf until he would be knocked out. I didn't wait any longer and started my search that day. I was sure I would be able to find it within a day, so I flew towards the canyon where I had almost seen Vimo fall to his death. I flew all over the place, looking for a black fist-like object. It took hours until I realized Vimo had probably jumped off the edge because the iron fist was somewhere at the bottom. Vimo was just too crazy at the time to realize that if he would jump down, he would die before he found it. I flew all the way down and looked everywhere in the hollow cavities, under the bushes, and on ledges. Aha! I exclaimed. There it is! That silly Vimo! He was right after all. I took the iron fist glove and tried it on. Let's see how strong this weird item really is, I said. I stretched my hoof and punched it against the wall. Bang! The wall burst and a huge crack became visible. Wow, I said in amazement. With this thing, I could punch through the mountain if I kept trying. And if it does this to the canyon, then I cannot even imagine what it would do against the wolf. Ha ha! Bring it on, wolf! I flew home with it and kept it safe under the apple tree. I slept well that night, with the certainty of victory to come. When I woke up by the shining rays of the morning sun, I yawned and put a smile on my face. It was time to take out the trash. The wolf showed up in the afternoon, as promised, and all the sheep gathered in the corner again. They were still scared, since the wolf could be unpredictable and treacherous. They didn't trust it, but I thought the sheep were not being very clever by being in the corner again, since it didn't allow them to go anywhere. Ugh, sheep are really stupid sometimes. Ready for a fight, super sheep? The wolf asked while licking his mouth. I put the cape down, showing him that I was willing to fight him without the ability to fly. I am prepared to face you, ugly head, I said. He ran at me, knowing that I wasn't as quick anymore. I was an easy target, and he was confident that he would defeat me within seconds. But then I pulled out the iron fist and slid it over my hoof. I raised my hoof and... thud! I punched the wolf so hard that he flew back 20 feet and landed face first on the grass. He moaned, and the sheep cheered for joy. Hit him again, one of the sheep said. I walked towards the wolf. He growled. He probably thought it was just a lucky hit, so he tried again. He spit at me and tried to grab me. Bam! I punched him in the stomach. He tried to breathe, but instead, he fell forward face first on the grass again. Yay! All the sheep behind me cheered. Have you had enough? I asked. The wolf looked up. He couldn't believe how strong I was. When he could finally talk again, he stammered, "Whoa, what is that thing?" Oh, this? It's just another magical item you can find in these lands. You know, there are pearls, eggs, potions, and many other strange objects in this environment. Either way, I am strong and you are weak, so get out of here. I never want to see you again. The wolf yelped with his tail between his legs and ran away. The other sheep came towards me. How did you do that? What is that glove? They asked. Let's just say that Vimo wasn't as loopy as we thought he was. He definitely wasn't all there, but something had told him where to find this iron fist. Thanks, Vimo. Vimo was happy. I could tell. He smiled and nodded. Then I said, now that we got rid of the wolf, who is up for another party with grass, snacks, and water?
I am.
Let's get this party started. That evening there were no more threats, no more worries. Everything was fine. The end. This has been Super Sheep, Diary of a Heroic Flying Sheep, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.